This is Healthy Souls with Father Nicholas Lowe, helping you to live a Christ-filled life in today's world. Father Nicholas is the pastor of St. John the Divine Greek Orthodox Church in Jacksonville, Florida.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you in church this morning. I'm grateful that you're all here. You're worshiping just a few weeks. If you haven't done your Christmas shopping, I know that stress may be settling in as you're in church, but put that off to the side. It's a couple of weeks before that great day when Christ comes into that little manger. But we're grateful that you're here, you're worshiping, and you're celebrating all that God does for us. I also want to look into the camera that we have and just welcome those of you that are tuning in live, you're watching our services, or if you're downloading this week's message, we are grateful that you're taking time to grow in your walk of faith. And to those of you that may be visiting, if this is your first Sunday here, we say this all the time, but you should find, if you're searching for a church, if you're kind of roaming and looking around, I always tell people that whatever church you settle in, you should find a church with roots. And you need to make sure that the church that you're part of not only knows where it's going, but also where it came from. So I encourage you, downstairs in our hospitality hall, our Family Life Center, we have this area that's all an area dedicated to you, those of you that are visiting. It's called our Welcome Center. I encourage you, please take the time. That's usually where I kind of hang out at. It's an opportunity for you to kind of get to know me, but also for us to kind of get to share with you the ministries and the programs that are all about our church. Several weeks ago, we began a sermon series called Soul Detox. And I encourage you to go back. If you haven't listened to the first two sermons, I do encourage you to do so. We're bringing that sermon to an end today. And I'm going to talk to you today about a very difficult topic, a topic that oftentimes many people, yes, even in the church, tend to avoid. So it's a topic that I'll just tell you to sit back, kind of relax, but also to encourage you to let your ears hear what we're talking about today, and hopefully if you're struggling with one of those areas, that it inspires you in your own walk of faith. So today I want to talk to you about having a detox of your spiritual body. The word for detox in the Greek language is apotoxinosis. Apotoxinosis. It literally means that I am cleansing out the toxins that are corrupting my physical body. Do you know that every single day, from the moment that you get up in the morning, in the water that you're drinking, in the air that you're breathing, in the food that you're eating, you are ingesting toxic substances that are harmful to your body? In fact, many in the medical world comment that our body's inability now to throw off and to deal with diseases that are plaguing our society have their roots, in many cases, by the toxins that you and I are taking in every single day. And just like we have toxins that are physically impacting our bodies, can we be honest for a moment and talk about the toxins that are impacting our spiritual souls? Every one of us, friends, we have to know that when you get up in the morning, there is a battle that is waging for your soul. In one corner, it's the spiritual man on the inside of you. That spirit man on the inside is someone who wants to follow Christ. Their thoughts are godly thoughts. They put Christ first in their life. In their marriage, they're constantly forgiving and constantly leading their children towards Christ. They've constantly been focused on what God yearns for them to live. But in the other corner is the flesh man. The flesh man is led by the devil. It'll tell you, hold on to grudges. You want to go look at that site? Click on it, no big deal. You want to hold on to anger? No big deal. Go ahead and do it. You want to gossip about something? No problem. You want to have those unhealthy thoughts? You want to complain? Go ahead, indulge it. And every single morning, the moment that your feet hit the ground, it is ding, ding, round one. And every single day, they are at a battle. It reminds me of a story, a very famous proverb of this grandfather who's taking his grandson on a walk in the forest. He takes his grandson through this forest and he's showing him the different areas of the forest, and then he goes up and he sees off at a distance two wolves, a black wolf and a white wolf. They're going at each other. At times the black wolf is on top of the white wolf, about ready to kill it. And then all of a sudden the white wolf gets enough strength and comes back onto that black wolf, and they're going at it every single moment. The grandfather looks at the grandson and says, "Son, do you see that? Do you see that battle? That's what's going on the inside of you. That black wolf symbolizes darkness. It symbolizes whatever the devil and the enemy wants you to live. Depression, sadness, anger, frustration, lust. That's what that black wolf is. That white wolf, though, that white wolf is hope, love, patience, kindness, service. The grandson looks at the granddad and says, "Granddaddy, well, who ends up winning this battle? Who ends up winning?" The grandfather looks back at the grandson and he says, "Whichever one you feed the most." In the same way, let me ask you, which wolf are you feeding? Which wolf is the hungriest in your life right now? Which wolf, that black or that white wolf, is controlling you right now? Can I give you just a word of encouragement? Can I give you some detox encouragement today and tell you that whatever you feed first in your life will control your life? Whatever you feed first in your life, listen to me, will lead your life. Whatever you feed leads. You've heard the old adage, you are, finish it, what you eat. I love it in the Bible. We're going to open up our Bibles to page 207. We're looking at the book of Romans. And if you ever wanted to kind of get an idea of just how much St. Paul struggled with this struggle of these black wolf and this white wolf, these toxins that are impacting him, you have to read the book of Romans. It's an amazing book. So let's just open up to page 207. It's the yellow Bibles that are in your pews. And we're going to look on the second column. We're in chapter 6, the book of Romans, chapter 6, verses 12. And if you just want to listen, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Listen to this. Sin, amartia, sin must no longer rule over your mortal bodies, so that you obey the desires of your natural self. That's that battle. You're following the black wolf. It shouldn't happen anymore. Nor must you surrender any part of yourselves to that black wolf to be used for wicked purposes. Instead, feed the right wolf. Give yourself to God as those who have been the Spirit and not according to that human nature. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong. Brought from death to life, and surrender your whole being to Him, who's Him, Christ, to be used for righteous purposes. And for many of you, when you get home today, you need to write this verse on your refrigerator. Sin must not be your master. And how many of us journey through life allowing that one thing, that struggle, that temptation, that lust, whatever it is, to be the master over our life? Let me put it to you this way. You are a slave to whatever controls you. And I love this period of Advent. The word Advent, it's the 40 days of fasting before Christmas. We all know that. But the word Advent literally means the anticipation of the arrival of a special person. Well, who's that special person? Christ in a manger. And there are 10 days, church family. 10 days. Today's the 15th. 10 days to Christmas. Most of our habits can be changed, listen, within 10 days. So why not us? Why not you and me take the next 10 days and say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to feed the right wolf. So let me give you 3 ways that you can do it. Here's number 1. Run from it. What do you mean, Father Nick? Run from what? Run from your it. Every one of us has an it. We all have an area that we don't like to open the door to see. It's much easier to look at someone else's problems or identify what other people are doing wrong instead of looking at ourselves. But what is your it? Oh, I got it, Father Nick, under control. No, listen to me. This is an important principle. you don't manage sin. You run from it. You run from it. I think back in my own life. Many of you have heard this story before, but when I was in high school, I wasn't even in the popular crowd. Let's just be honest. I was in the kind of the middle crowd, I guess would be more like it. But one day, one of the popular kids in my school named Kevin said, "Hey Nick, there is a party that you need to be at. I mean, all the girls are going to be there. All the most popular people are going to be there. You just need to show up. It's going to be an amazing event." I thought, wow, they're asking me, Nick, to go to that great party with all the popular people. So I got off of work after school. I went to work and then came home and was about ready to walk out my front door and got to the door handle, about ready to pull it. My dad came and said, "Nick, where are you going?" I said, "Dad, I'm going to go studying." He said, "Son, it's Friday night, and I know you better. You're not going to study. Where are you going?" And back then, to be quite honest with you, my dad had one of those things, and probably for some of you, you could totally relate to this. I couldn't lie to my dad, because if he looked at me, I would just kind of buckle at the knees. And so I said to him, "I'm going somewhere." And he said, "Son, I want you to know something." He said, "Nick, when you leave this house, I don't care about what your first name is, but I do care about what your last name is, because your last name represents the family." He said, "Don't ever bring shame to the name." Anyone ever heard of that before? Don't ever bring shame to the name. He said, "Do you remember what happened when I came to this country? Didn't have much in my wallet, $200, worked at Burger King, didn't have much for your mom when we got married. Do you remember what we went through? Don't bring shame to the name." Needless to say, I didn't go to that party. But could God be telling you, run from that temptation? Yes, it's easy to indulge it, but can I tell you, don't bring shame to your name before Christ. Do you know what your Heavenly Father did to bring you into being? The Bible says, "I brought you from nothing, from a piece of dust that many of us are wiping off during the week, to a being." Don't bring shame to the name. That's number one. Here's number two. That once we recognize that we have to run from that temptation, we don't manage sin, we run from it. That number two is we make sure that we recognize that our beliefs shape our behaviors. Our beliefs need to shape our behaviors. You young people, I want you to hear, and those of you that are tuning in live, we live in a world that will tell you to compromise. That if you feel it, take advantage of it. If you think it, go ahead and do it. If you're there, go ahead and indulge yourself with it. We live in a world where it's constantly telling us to compromise. You see young people now vaping, smoking, drinking, doing things that they should not be doing before they're married. All of these things are happening. Why? Because we're living in a world that's compromising our faith. And many of you, if you're not careful, can allow your feelings to shape your faith. It reminds me of this story that I heard about of this mother that was with her son, and her son was a young adolescent kid, maybe in his 12 or 13 years old, and the little adolescent boy said, "Mommy, I want to go watch a movie. It's a great movie. Everyone has been, all my friends have seen this movie. There's only one bad part in the movie, just one bad part. Outside of that, it's a great movie. All of my friends have seen it. Would you let me go see it?" The mother says, "No, son, I don't really want you to see it. It's got a bad part. You really don't need to see that." They go back and forth, and eventually the young boy says, "Mommy, please, I just want to watch this." So the mom says, "All right, son, you want to watch that movie? Go ahead and watch it. But here's the caveat. You have to watch that movie in the house, in the basement." He's like, "Mom, sure." The young boy invites all of his friends over to the house, and while they're downstairs, the mother says to the friends and to her son, says, "Look, I'm going to go make you a pan of brownies." The young boy's like, "Wow, I get to watch that movie with, yes, that bad part, and then I get to make, and my mom is going to make me brownies." The mother goes upstairs, and she starts whipping together the chocolate, starts putting together all of the mixes for the brownie, and then she says, "Well, let me go outside." And she goes outside and takes a spoon, puts it into the dirt, takes out a little spoon of dirt, brings it back into that little brownie mix and pours it right into the brownie mix, starts stirring it around. She then goes afterwards, after it's all done, she brings it to her son and says, "Son, look, I made you brownies." The kids are so excited. They all got their forks and knives about ready to dig in. And so right as they're about ready to dig in, she goes, "But son, just wait one second. The entire brownie is excellent, but there is some small piece of dirt in the brownie." The kid's looking at her going, "What?" "It won't hurt you. It's just a small piece. Have it. You probably won't even taste it." In the same way, that's how we are. We'll allow ourselves to be in front of a movie, to be at work when there's people that are being flirtatious with us. Something small, it's not a big deal, Father Nick. Listen, that little dirt can dirty your soul. You got to make sure that not only are you running from that temptation, but you're remembering that your beliefs shape your behaviors. Let me go one step further. Sometimes we can think that our life the way that we as a church teach our young people, especially, or our young adults, is too archaic, it's too old-fashioned. And to some of you that are maybe tuning in, or some of you that are here in church, sometimes you might say, "Well, Father Nick, you're just a little old-fashioned. That doesn't really apply to us now. Everybody's doing it." Can I just give you all a word of encouragement? If you're not careful, and I'll say this to your parents as well, don't negotiate your child's soul. The truth of God never changes. It's the same yesterday, the Bible says, today, and forever. And whenever that moment comes where you feel like you need a compromise, you remember that God gave you that child as a gift. It's non-negotiable what we as a church, and yes, more importantly, what Christ teaches us. Here's number 3. So after we've run from that temptation, after we let our beliefs shape our behaviors, the number 3 is go all in with God. You remember that dance that you all used to play when you were going to the skating ring? It was called the hokey pokey. Remember that? Maybe it's just me. I'm sorry. I used to love whenever the DJ would say we're going to do the hokey pokey. And you know, if you remember that dance, you'd go out there and you don't ever know what you're going to expect when you come to St. John on a Sunday morning. But you know, that dance, it would say, put your right leg out, put your right leg in, stop. You put your right leg out, and then you, come on now, work with me now. You shake it all about. I think sometimes we like to play hokey pokey with Christ. We'll kind of be one foot in the church, then one foot out. I did my Sunday morning responsibility, but I'm out now. I could put my foot in there. I did this one exercise, this one ministry, but oh, it's time to come out. And oh, how so many of us are playing hokey pokey with Christ. Did y'all not hear this morning's gospel? Where Christ says, I'm sending out invitations every day for you to be with me, to be part of the grand banquet. And he gets so angry. He says, you don't want to come and be part of this relationship with me? That's okay. We'll get some others. Those people don't want to be on there? No problem. We'll get some others. Now, we are blessed to be part of a grand banquet of Christ. So don't go all out with God. You want to be all in with Christ. Go all in with Him. I'll leave you with this. In 1941, a great teacher and composer named Catherine Davis was looking to inspire people. She felt that the meaning of Christmas was being lost by all the gift giving and what people wanted to receive. And it used to frustrate her so much to see all of this stuff about what people can receive as opposed to what people could give. And so she was a great composer, and she always felt like God was just on her heart. She was a devout Christian woman. So she just sat down one day. She began to write some lyrics to a song. That song sounds a little bit like this. I'm a poor boy too. I have no gift to bring that is fit for the king. So I played my drum for him. I played my best for him. Then he smiled at me. Pa-rumpa-pum-pum. Me and my drum, pa-rumpa-pum-pum. Y'all know this carol. It's called The Little Drummer Boy. And could it be that God is saying to all of us, can you play your best for me? I don't need any of the other gifts. Just play your best for me. I want you to play your best by running from that temptation. Don't try to manage it. You can't manage sin, you run from it. Can you play your best for me by making sure that your beliefs shape your behaviors? Hey, church family, can you play your best for me by stop playing hokey pokey and just go all in with me? Listen, church family, whatever you feed the most leads your life the most. Which wolf are you going to feed? Ba-rumpa-pum-pum.
We invite you to join Father Nick and his wife, Dr. Roxanne Lowe, on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month for their Healthy Minds, Healthy Souls call-in show at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Ancient Faith Talk.